podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. And still Robertson, getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
Hello, welcome to the Tricky Talks Victory podcast. As the Tricky Trees beat the Bees to win their opening game of the Premier League season, we'll discuss the main takeaways from the game and look forward to game week 2 this Sunday in a very feisty looking matchup against Palace. Plus, now the season has started, we have some new regular features coming your way, so keep an eye out for those on the show. The whole gang is here once again. Good to finally meet you in person at the game, Kate. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. Still absolutely buzzing from Sunday. Can't stop smiling. Brilliant, loving it.
Chels is here as always. How are you, Chels?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I mean, what an opening game. If you're a Forest fan, you're still on an absolute high.
And last but not least, Mollo is here as always. How are you doing, sir? Good to see you for breakfast before the game as well.
Yeah, can't complain. Good old guilt. Very, very happy. Still buzzing, to be honest. Still keep watching the goals and seeing all the chat and looking forward to listening to all the pods, in particular, obviously, this one.
Right, we'll get into the game very shortly, but we do have some transfer news to briefly discuss, in that the club revealed the signings of McAtee, Hutchinson and Kaluamendo over the various stages over the weekend, with potential for Douglas Luiz to come. We've got a here we go soon from the man, the king, that is Fabrizio Romano. And also, Carlos Miguel has finalised a permanent transfer back to his homeland in Brazil, having joined Palmeiras as well. So, quick thoughts on those signings, guys. As you're a big Romano fan, Mollo, we'll start with you, I think, on these.
In the interest of not getting sued, I'm very much of the opinion the shotgun approach. If you fire off enough bullets, something's going to hit the target, which is seems to be the way of some of our so-called journalists. Regarding the Douglas Luiz one, it's an exciting one. I've always thought from day one would lay down a marker. However, and I hate to do this, and Kate got me thinking a while back, if you look at what he did last season and his injuries and everything else, we need the Villa version, because the version that we'd be getting that was there last season at Juventus wouldn't be much use to us. But that said, whoever gets that has got, as we'll discuss later, a heck of a job to get into that starting lineup anyway.
Yeah, I think that's probably the crux of the negotiations, isn't it, between Forest and Newcastle, in that Forest want to mitigate that risk and try and avoid the scenario where they get the Juventus version and not the Villa version. I think had he performed for Juve like he did for Villa, there'd have been no question. But I just wonder if that's what's at the back of their mind in terms of trying to mitigate that risk. Talking of risk, Kate, the team paraded 2 new signings at the weekend, McAtee and Hutchison, and obviously they followed it up with Kaluamendo. Just some quick thoughts on those 3.
I think as far as Hutchinson goes, wasn't hugely keen, as previously discussed. However, he's here now, he's one of us, we've signed him. None of that matters. We have to get behind him. We have to believe in our recruitment team and our coaches and Nuno, and see, what they can get out of him, and just hoping very, very much to be proved wrong as far as Hutchinson goes. McAtee, yeah, very excited for that. I think great signing. He seems genuinely happy to be here. I think the quote that I liked most from him was that we did so well last season, he's looking forward to being part of the project that builds on that. And we all saw what building on that looks like on Sunday. So if I was McAtee, I would also be very delighted to be here. And Kaluamendo, just exciting young talent. all the things I've found out about him since we were linked with him are just big ticks in boxes. He's young, he's exciting, he's an out-and-out striker. His stats are pretty good, and I've heard, people say, but the French league isn't as good, and, but he can't have stats from anywhere else because that's the only place he's played, and those stats are pretty great. And a brief read through his interview before we started recording, he's sort of said that himself. This is a new league that I'm in now. I need to step up. What more do we need to hear than that? Absolutely can't wait to see him banging in some goals.
Absolutely. Just going back to Hutchinson, Chels, obviously being local to Ipswich, you may have your finger on the pulse a little bit more in terms of what town fans are thinking. Have Forest got a good deal, or are Ipswich Town fans generally happy with the fee they received, or have they got more than his market value?
I'm stand with Kate. I'm not overly keen on him. I think when I've seen him, because I watched a lot of the town games with Dean, poor Dean, but yeah, I don't think he's a good player, and he's probably, other than Delap, he's one of their best that they had. However, I think we haven't seen him in a better squad. So maybe he will. I don't think his full potential has been unlocked yet, and maybe that's what Forest can do. Every town fan that I have spoke to about it has said to me, "Cool, we ripped you off 37.5 million," and I'm not going to lie, I agree. I don't think he's worth 37.5 million, if I'm honest. But like Kate said, trust in the recruitment team. They've done an amazing job so far. So hopefully, but I have changed my answer for my one to prove. It's not Awoni anymore. It is now Hutchinson. So I have changed my answer. So we'll see how we go with that.
Okay, just before we move on to the Brentford game, that we must mention Matt Sells and his nomination for Ballon d'Or, Chelsea. It's not often you get a Forest player nominated for a global award, is it? So just shows you just how much Sells has come on and what he means to the team in terms of his overall value.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's an absolute honour, isn't it? I mean, even if he doesn't win, being nominated is an award in itself. I will think that he is the right deserved winner. Do I think he will? Maybe not, but I feel like he should win. But yeah, it's an amazing to be nominated. It's incredible, and we're all so proud of him as a club. So yeah, good on Matt Sells.
Absolutely. Right, on to the meat of the podcast then. We're going to talk about the Brentford game, but we're not going to talk about it in the sense of giving a minute-by-minute account. We've all seen the highlights, or we were there, or we've read reports, we've listened to other podcasts, so we don't need to go into a minute-by-minute account of how the game went and what you thought of the outcome, but just have a think about a couple of takeaways that each of you can provide from the game. What stood out for you in terms of your overall thoughts? What anybody impress you that you didn't think they would, or just some general takeaways? Start with you, Kate. Couple of takeaways.
So the biggest takeaway is when everybody's fit and everybody's in form, how good are we? Like that first half, you're sat there and you're thinking, am I watching Forest? It's like, this is amazing. Absolutely. You couldn't make it up. We were, all of us and everyone I spoke to, so excited for opening day. And yet our predictions were 1-0, 0-0. Ooh, it's going to be tricky. And then we got there and just like, oh my God, we're 3-0 up at half time and really, really good value for it. So what I would say is, how good are we? We're absolutely brilliant. Let's keep that form. Let's keep them fit. Let's keep building and enjoy this, because the optimism is just gone sky high. And even on Sky, did we see our best friend predicting us to finish 7th? Who said we might finish 7th? I don't know. Somebody else that knows a bit about football might have said that. So I mean, come on, you're not going to get any better than that, are you? Another takeaway, if I'm, and I'm struggling to find anything vaguely negative, but the one thing I did note down was Dan and Doy needs to be a bit stronger. That's what I was watching him quite closely, him being a new player. Absolutely chuffed for him. Great goal, not an easy goal to score either. I was loving the blistering runs, the pace. I was loving that he was all over everything. However, I do think he needs to be a little bit stronger, both when he's being tackled and being pressed and also when tackling, which I'm sure will come with more time in the Premier League and more time with coaching staff. But that would, if I was really, really looking for a negative, that would be the one for me.
Okay. What about you, Mollo? A couple of takeaways from your perspective?
Well, aside from who was it who said pre-season means absolutely nothing and I hate it, and real footballers hate pre-season in terms of everything that goes with it, I've got three main takeaways: the defence, the midfield and the attack. Absolutely spot on. I think I also, when I was watching Undoy closely, and you're absolutely right, he's going to have to adjust to the strength. But what I loved about him, in terms of a different type of player to what we've had in there, he's clearly a different player, aside from his heading ability. When he's got the ball wide, he's looking to pass it in. He's not looking to put in a cross. He's not looking to hit in a loopy hit and hope ball. He really looks to pass it in. And it was noticeable, a lot of his stuff was along the floor and into feet. And I love that. I think it's given us another dimension. And my big takeaway is what I've said: defence, midfield, attack. Also, feet on the ground moment. Brentford will be a very different proposition in a month's time once they've settled down and got themselves, their players back together. They're not the sort of club that will allow that kind of performance anyway. On paper, their team wasn't actually that bad, but they've got a few to come back from injury. So, just 100% positive, other than a really annoying goal. And if I was really nitpicking, across the whole game, he had a great game. There's no two ways about it. But from being a 10 out of 10 almost in the first half, why is it Sangare drops off? And I didn't care if he was a 7 out of 10, because that's what we needed second half. But he drops off. Some daft headers in midfield giving the ball away. A couple of not brilliant closing down, and then a reaction, but a brain dead penalty moment, which another day at 1-0 could have been crucial. But that really is nitpicking, because across the game he was superb and his job was done by half time.
Anything else to add, Mollo? Shall we move to Chels?
Yours,
Go on,
Chels?
Chels. Couple of takeaways.
We're not going down. Well, with that performance, we are not going down. It was almost, I remember when I was younger and I watched the likes of Arsenal and Man City and Liverpool, and I'm like just looking at the telly going, wow. And I'm just speechless watching all this lovely, sexy, one-touch stuff going on. And now I'm watching it as Forest. And I just, oh yeah, we are not going down from that performance. No way. And like Kate was saying, from a very tired squad at the end of last season, to then see what fresh legs can do, an amazing rest, just they are itching and raring to go. And yeah, we are no way going down. No way.
Can I just say, Chelsea, that is the beauty of having someone the generation below on here that only saw that level of football with other teams, and to sit there and say that, you don't know how happy that's made me.
Oh, bless you, Mollo. Oh, I love that.
Come
Look,
on.
I did. I used to watch Arsenal and be like, wow, it was like watching magic. And now I'm doing it with Forest, and that's like that little girl inside me is like, oh my God, I love it.
So,
Kids out there watching Forest going, wow.
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. And I reverted back to being that 6-year-old, like just watching them.
so whilst Mollo sheds a tear on that takeaway, Chelsea, have you got another one to share?
Yes, yeah, and it does go to show that we can play possession football against, and I hate using the word weaker or lesser teams, but I mean not top 6. We can, because usually our possession is maybe like the 30%, 40%, if that, if we're lucky, and it does show that we can control the game a lot more. You know, being one touch stuff, and just having more of that possession and the ownership, and feeling like that we can more control and we can still soak up, but also making the other team so nervous as a result of it. And it just goes to show we can do that, which was lovely to see.
I think it's going to be a key point, actually, Chelsea this season in general. I don't think the style of play that they adopted last season is a sustainable style of play across the whole of this season. They're going to have to learn to play that possession game a little bit more. So it's good to see them doing that right from the off, really. That leads me on to my takeaways, actually. And the first one I wanted to mention to you guys is, has it finally clicked for Sangare? And does it help having the likes of Gibbs-White and Anderson next to him in terms of them being the playmakers, the catalyst for everything good that goes offensively, and allows Sangare just to sit there and do his job? And I think back to a quote made by a famous American football coach where his philosophy was to each and every single player, just do your job. If you do your job well, and everybody does their job well, then the team will play well. And I just wonder if that's now finally dropped for Sangare in terms of his roles and responsibilities. I think back to the very first minute or two of the game, he did a pretty awesome tackle on one of the Brentford attackers, and I thought, amazing, right from the off, he's stamped that authority on the game. And I just wonder now, it's like you say, Mollo, he hasn't been able to do it for a whole 90 minutes, but I think he's getting there. I think he's close. And then I've already mentioned two players that are forming part of my second takeaway. And do you think Gibbs-White and Anderson are the best central mid pairing in the Premier League? It's certainly a topic for a conversation, I think. But can you guys think of any other better central midfield pairing at the minute in the Premier League?
Not on Saturday or Sunday.
No.
Definitely not Monday.
No, and I think, you know what, if it remains to be seen how much they play together this season. Yeah, we know there's going to be some rotation. We know there's going to be the potential for injuries and suspensions and the like. So it's not going to happen for every single game. But you know what, more often than not, I think if those two play together, I think Forest are going to be on the right end of a positive result more often than not, I think. So we've gone through some takeaways, but it was a great performance. I think we can all agree with that. And we couldn't really have asked for more, apart from the penalty at the end, which has just been a bit pecky. It's just been a bit picky, really. And we're talking from an FPL perspective more than anything else, which we'll come on to. But just one thing to improve from the game. There's always areas to improve, and always things the team could have done differently. I know, Kate, you mentioned about being more physical, but have you got any other areas where you look back and think, I think there needs to be some improvement?
I think we need pockets for Sangare's shorts so that he can. And then we'd be all good then. Does that count? It was a feeling for me of not being the newbies anymore. And even though we had an amazing season last season, it did still feel like we were new to the Premier League. We were still, we were overachieving was what everybody kept saying, no right to be there. And the mentality of the team throughout that first game that we've just watched was, we're heading straight to the back of the school bus. We are here. We are supposed to be here. And I think that mentality is potentially massive to, feeling like we belong as fans, as players, as a club. Yeah.
What about you, Chels? Any room for improvement? I know you watched the game on telly, and I'm sure the commentators were very flattering towards the performance of Forest. But what did you and your dad spot? Anything that you think could have done that a bit better?
It was just not handling the ball in the area would be great. For poor Sangare, they always say, was the arm not in a natural position? No, it wasn't. You can't argue with the ref for that. It was like, no, oh yeah, you kind of like then kind of put your head down, like, oh, okay, maybe, yes, it was. So yeah, again, nitpicking. Did we tail off just a little bit towards the end? We weren't as strong, I would say, in the end of the second half as we were in the first. But again, I'm literally nitpicking. Just don't handle the ball in the area, and that's it.
It's very hard, isn't it, to find room for improvement for a performance like that. And if there was one thing that stood out to me is that You look at the couple of new players that came on, Jesus and Ndoye, and whilst Ndoye had the goal, and a very good goal it was too, I did look at his play and think, that's the chap who needs to get used to the style of play that Forest have adopted. And it was the same with Jesus. He came on, albeit for only a short time, but I don't recall too much in terms of contribution. Now, we can forgive him because the game was pretty much over and there was only a short amount of time left on the clock. So we didn't really have time to make an impact. But it just made me think, with all of the new signings now on board, I think the integration of those is going to be really key, because I don't think we're going to see all of them on the pitch in one go. I think just because they haven't played together, they're not familiar with Nuno's style. So just think, for me, to be clear with how that integration is going to work for those new players. Mollo, one thing for you to improve upon, do you think?
Again, it's nitpicking, isn't it? But for me, you've got to die for a clean sheet, and also get that fourth goal second half. Of course, we were going to protect our lead more than anything, and they never were in it. Even the goal came out of nothing, didn't it? They were more threatening in the first 10 minutes than they were for the rest of the game, and that was just one chance. For me, things to improve on. I think it's because it was so brilliant. It's more a case of things to make sure we don't let happen, and maintaining those levels in the next game, which is going to be a whole lot tougher. There's not much to improve on, is there? You'd be super picky, like you say. Keep your arms down in the penalty area, especially when you've got Milenkovic right behind you, ready to clear it. And that's been super harsh for a guy that ran 10.5 kilometres that day as well. Maybe get Yates on a touch earlier, a couple of changes earlier, because when Yates came on, he suddenly gave us that impetus to get back on the front foot, didn't he, to be fair? I thought Yates was superb for his 15 minutes. And being at the game was amazing. I'm a sad case. I sat and watched the whole game back again on telly, and listening to Don Goodman's level of praise. He gets a bad press from Forest fans because he's brutally honest, isn't he? Unless we've been pretty poor for 23 years, so his honesty hasn't gone down well. He was raving and talking about how he's watched a lot of Forest in the last 15 years in League One, Championship. He's never seen us play like that. That was his words. So, very difficult to pick, isn't it, like you say? And hopefully we'll have that problem every week.
Right, we're going to keep you on Mollo. It's time for one of our new features called Mollo's Moment. So it can be absolutely anything. It could be a goal, it could be a chant, it could be absolutely anything. What was your Mollo's Moment of the match?
So when I started doing this, I had a list of about 20, mostly in the game. Brief mention for the Marinakis chance, absolutely brilliant. Take that, Palace and Tottenham. Wood getting off the mark. I might have to revise my thing about him being top scorer with 23 goals. I might have to go 25. But for me, and it's a very specific moment of the game, watching it back again, it was even as good as I remembered. The 10th minute of the game, there's a passage of play, and I think Chelsea alluded to it, involving a number of players with one-touch passing, got us into their area. Gibbs White laid it back, and Anderson smashed one that looked like it was probably heading for the top corner, but for a defender doing his job and getting in the way. I looked at that bit of football, and we all looked at each other in A block every step. We go, "Wow, that was incredible!" And we just continued like that. For me, that was the moment where I thought, "This is a very different Nottingham Forest to last season, no doubt about it." The confidence, and it all came through in that one moment. It was just beautiful. So sorry for not picking a Marinakis chant on this occasion, or Woody getting off the mark, but I just thought that epitomised our day. It was a little microcosm of the way the day went. We won the ball back and then ping, 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 shot. I was like, wow. Would have been goal of the season.
Yeah, we're going to be bringing you Mollo's Moment every single week, win, lose or draw. So we'll keep an eye out for more of those as the season progresses. Just very quickly before we move to half time, in one or two words, each of your man of the match, and we're gonna keep a record of this throughout the season, so we end up with a Tricky Talks podcast player of the season at the end after totaling up all the man of the match awards. Start with you, Kate. Who is your man of the match?
Anderson.
Chels. Mollo.
Listen, but there is lots of contenders.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to go Sangare. I know, because I knew people would go for the majority of Anderson. That's not to take anything away from him, but I just thought, you know what, he did put in a good performance, albeit not for the full 90, but he deserves some recognition for that, which is why I'm going for Sangare on this occasion. So long may that continue. So we'll see how those Man of the Match awards stack up between now and the end of the season. Right, we've reached half-time of the show. Okay, we're going to bring another new feature to you now, and this one's called Tricky Trivia, where Kate is going to be asking us a Forest-related trivia question each and every week. The three of us will need to spend the rest of the show thinking of the answer. So, guys, if you do happen to know, feel free to shout it out. And if we don't get it, then Kate is going to reveal the answer at the end of the show. So, Kate, what is your first ever Tricky Trivia question?
Okay.
Listeners can play at home as well, of course.
This is actually quite difficult to get something that all three of you have got a good shout at. So I don't know whether I'm going too easy or too difficult for the first one, but here it is. So which player scored Forest's first ever Premier League goal? And you can have bonus points if you can tell me who it was against and what the final score was in that game.
I think Chels knows already. Actually, hold that thought, Chels, because we want the listeners to play along as well. So
yes.
if we give the answer now, that might spoil it for the listeners.
You
So
watch, I'll be bloomin' wrong.
Yeah.
That might not be wrong. You watch.
So let's come back to the end of the show, Chels, and then you can reveal, Kate, your answer before Kate tells us who it really was. But talking of you, Chelsea, you are, and this leads us nicely into another regular feature that we'll be bringing to you each and every week, and you're going to provide us with this week's FPL update after game week 1. So take it away.
I am. Welcome to Chelsea's segment, FPL. Here we go. So yeah, the top 5 who we've got so far in FPL team, which we have got quite a lot of people in our league. Actually, I was very surprised at how many we had. So that makes me feel a bit better about my poor effort that I've got in game week 1. So top with 79 points, we have Cells Like Team Spirit, Liam Boland. Is it Boland? I'm not sure who that is. But yeah, 79 points. Then we've got number 2 is Chris Wood again. Ole ole, we all love that. Gareth Parry. And then, which I'm going to absolutely get ripped to shreds for, 3rd is my godchildren's lovely dad, Daniel Eagle, with Chicken Tikka Mo Salah with 71 points. And I hate that I've got to say that, because he's already been messaging me, and yeah, he's gloating and is very smug. And then, oh, sorry for pronunciation, in 4th place is Sawaz Ahmed with 70 points. And then we've got Des Walker scored, David Jones with 69 points. They're our top 5. And then I'm actually not all the way at the bottom. We've got, we've got Bruce Johnston in second from bottom, and then George Smith, who's at the bottom. They've both got 39 points so far. Now let's look at how we're all doing.
Oh dear.
Now, right, Simon. Now I'm going to call Simon the silent assassin of this league. That's all I'm going to say. He is currently on 35th. So yeah, he knows how to play FPL, people. Don't be fooled with the fact that he's in 35th place, because I know he's got stuff up his sleeve. So yeah, everyone thinks, oh, that's not very good. Watch this space. He'll be first before you know it. Kate, you're in 27th place. I want to skip past me, but I'm in 31st place, people. I had a rubbish week. I'm only on 47 points. And then Mollo, you're doing really well. You're 7th.
Well, I played my subs bench card thingy on the first day, which was nearly a disaster. And I had Tarkovsky last night, who gave away a penalty and didn't get the clean sheet. So
you're on 66 points.
Yeah, I'll take that at the moment.
And he is behind his 12-year-old son, Chelsea, as well.
11-year-old.
Yes, 11-year-old. Yeah, see, it's even worse. Don't worry, I'm behind my 8-year-old nephew, so yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's all I'm saying.
It is.
He put Ivan Toney in life of game week 1 last year, and he couldn't get rid of him, bless him. So yeah, but
and he's still ahead of you.
He's still ahead of me. But very interestingly, we had our top 3 players who scored the most points. So we had Ballard from Sunderland, who scored 17 points. 4.5 million, that's all he costs.
Wow.
It's absolutely incredible. And then Simeo from Bournemouth, 7.1. He done amazing. And then, joint third, Haaland with 13, Richarlison 13, and our Chrissy Wood, 13 points. So so they've all done very well for game week 1. But yeah, on to the next one, where I will try to do my best and not just get 46 points, which I'm a bit bitter about, but never mind.
Never mind. At least you're doing better than your dad, Chels, who didn't even enter at all.
I cannot believe, I said to him, I will set you up, I will get it going, and he was like, oh no, I just haven't got time.
Yeah, for a retired bloke.
Okay, retired man, yes, you haven't got time at all.
Right, thanks for that, Chels. Much appreciated. We'll look forward to seeing how we progress throughout the season, and the silent assassin is coming. That's all I can say. Right, second half of the show, and we shall move swiftly on to this weekend's game, and it's a very feisty looking game away at Crystal Palace. So far this season, they've beaten Liverpool in the Community Shield and drawn 0-0 away at Chelsea. So a couple of really good results from them. Again, we're not going to do too much of a deep dive into the ins and outs of individual matchups or team matchups or anything like that. What we're going to do is something a little bit different. So we're going to split. Kate and Chels are going to tell everybody why Forest will win, and myself and Mollo are going to tell everybody why Forest won't win. So we'll start with you guys. Kate, Chels, start with you, Kate. Go on. Why will Forest beat Crystal Palace this weekend?
Because Marinakis says so.
Yeah.
And because it is a loaded game, and I think they are going to be desperate to beat us to prove a point. And like I said, we're the cool kids in school now, so we can handle that.
Excellent. Anything else?
Forest. And if we play like how we did against Brentford, we have got no worry whatsoever. And there's not just how well we can play, but also just with what's happened with Palace. I think that just gives them an extra oomph and a bit more grit just to get stuck into the game a bit more. And yeah, we're going to win. And that's coming from me, who is a pessimist and who doesn't like to say that we're going to win because we might not do because of superstition. But we will.
Yeah, the game's live on Sky Sports, I believe, isn't it, this weekend as well? So Sky are going to, I'm surely going to put a heavy emphasis on the European angle of the game. And I know I don't take credit for this, but I saw a Crystal Palace fan on X refer to the game as El Casico, in reference to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. So credit to him. That did make me laugh out loud when I saw that. So hopefully that speaks volumes for the majority of Palace fans in terms of taking the match up a little bit light-hearted and not be too serious about it. But Mollo, why will Forest not win the game this weekend?
Okay, in my defence, I feel like a lawyer who's been appointed to defend a guilty man in that. What I really think, no, in truth, here's my thinking. I think a point will be a good point away at Palace. It always is. Assuming that they've still got the majority of their players, they've been a settled side in for a long time. They're on a run of form in more meaningful games than we've had. We've had one game. They'll be they've had the Community Shield. They've had their first game. They've now got this European game. So it'll be their fourth meaningful game of the season. So they might be a little bit ahead of us on match sharpness. So I think a draw would be a really good result with the whole, everything surrounding it, the atmosphere. As much as Palace is quite a soft place to go in terms of its good fun and whatnot, they do produce a good atmosphere. I think Forest have already, people are printing off check your email things and make your paper planes ready to go. So there's going to be a lot of banter flying about. But all this rubbish about watch your back and that some people have said, it won't be like that at all. Palace fans aren't that way inclined. All they'll do is wear matching black T-shirts and clap very loudly at us if they see us outside the ground. So don't worry anybody who's going. But that's it for me. Just purely that they're that bit further along in match sharpness is why we need to be absolutely on it like we were this week and make sure we take something away. I don't honestly see us winning. I'd love us to. I think it'd be a very good point to bring away from there and start off with the classic one at home, draw away at the season.
Yeah, I'm going to pick up on something you mentioned there, Mollo, about momentum. If you think about what Palace have done, I've already mentioned the fact they beat Liverpool, albeit on penalties. They drew away at Chelsea, which they're the club world champions now, and that's no mean feat. The game before that was obviously the FA Cup final win. So in their last 3 games, City, Liverpool and Chelsea, they're undefeated. And they've got a bit of momentum. I think they're still riding that crest of the wave that they got from winning the cup final. So I think that momentum's going to be key. It's their first league game at home. I know they've got the conference game prior to that, but there's, as we said last in our on Door's show actually, what game are you most looking forward to at home? And we said the season opener at home is always a special occasion. Yeah. And the crowd and Selhurst Park are going to be well up for it, aren't they? In terms of that banter between the two fans, they're going to generate a really tremendous atmosphere. The players are going to respond to that, I think, and bounce off that atmosphere. So I think for all of those reasons, that's why Forest won't win. Obviously, we're all fans and we hope they do win, of course, but this show is balanced. We're not going to be simply pro-Forest all of the time. We have to offer a balanced view, of course, as in terms of our proper analysis and assessment. So that we shall do, which leads us on to score predictions for the game. We'll start with you, Kate.
2-0 to Forest.
Chels. Mollo.
Hard fought, gritty, horrible 0-0. The other side of our game.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Marinakis walking around the outside of the pitch either before or afterwards to applaud the Forest fans.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Palace win. Unfortunately, until Forest prove me wrong that they can deal with these really hard games away from home, then that's why I'm going to predict it. And I have to keep my argument, didn't I? Why Forest won't win. So I can't say they won't win and then predict they are going to win. So
predict a draw.
Yeah, true. I can. Right, so as I said, Palace are a good side. We know they've got some really good players, but who are the players to watch? And again, this is something that we'll talk about every week. It doesn't have to be the star player. It doesn't have to be the centre forward. It can be a young player who's made a breakthrough into the team. So if each of you have got a Palace player to watch, start with you this time, Mollo.
For me, the way our midfield dominated on Saturday against an average midfield, I think we've got to watch out for Adam Wharton. He's a top player. He's the only one who, of that kind of age bracket, challenging Elliot Anderson in terms of potential England recognition. Really, really good young player. I think we'll get the better of him because of the physical, but he is the one to watch.
Okay. Kate, what about your one to watch?
So I think this might be battle of the goalkeepers. So we've got Henderson, who obviously we've all got a lot of time for, and then we've got Matt Sells. I think there are going to be shots on goal. And I think of the two goalkeepers, who would I rather have between the sticks? It's a tricky one, but at the moment I'm backing Matt Sells and backing Matt Sells to get that clean sheet. And so for me, battle of the goalkeepers, let's keep an eye on Hendo. We know he's good. We know what he can do. We know he can get away with stuff sometimes as well. But yeah, okay. That's the one for me.
I'm also going to go for a midfielder in Eze. I think he is going to be their key player, not so much because of what he offers on the pitch, because we know how good he is, but it's a question of, is he even going to be in the Palace team? Mm-hmm. Because there are reports coming out that he's on the verge of joining Spurs. So if that does happen prior to the weekend, then obviously that's going to weaken their starting lineup, I think, because he's a really key player. Mono, going to chip in there.
I was going to ask you, high quality English number 10 about to join Spurs. Where have we heard that before?
Yeah. Well, let's hope Spurs have learnt their lesson, eh? And from their sakes, they get this one over the line. Otherwise, they're going to look a bit silly, I think. But yeah, I think the outcome of that transfer story is going to be key to how Palace play, because ultimately any replacement they get for Eze is not necessarily going to be immediately thrust into the starting lineup, as we've discussed with our own signings. So that for me is he's the one to watch. Is he going to play, or is he going to play, or is he not?
Oh,
Yeah, Chels, you're one to watch.
I'm the same as Kate. Dean Henderson, he is a fantastic goalkeeper. We know that, and also as well, he's familiar as well. That's the thing, and I just feel like I mean, we've got great goal scorers. We all know that, but we know how good of a keeper Dean Henderson is, and he's the one to watch if you don't score goals. So yeah, Dean Henderson. A bit nervous about that one, but I'm trying not to think about it.
And that's just made, for whatever reason, Chelsea, that's made me think of the Kate's tricky trivia answer. I think it's just popped in my head, so I think I might have that one. But we'll see in a moment.
I had it as well straight away.
Yeah,
I think we need to introduce another section to the show, which should be Simon's pun of the week, because that's becoming a weekly thing. So let's get back to the running on, shall we?
Absolutely, always up for a good pun. Right, we're entering added time now, so we're coming to the end of the show. And Kate, you've got some fabulous news that you would like to share with us and your listeners. Tell us more.
Okay, so I don't know whether you have yet heard, but if you haven't, you will be hearing about something called Fanalysis. It's an app at the moment that is supported by Sky Sports. It's an app for getting the fans' voices out into the media. I have been lucky enough to be selected as one of Nottingham Forest's starting 11 Fanalysists. So there's a mouthful, along with some reasonably high-profile Forest fans, including, of course, Mollo's daughter, Ellie Mollison, who is just out there smashing it as the representative for Forest women supporters. And yeah, so the idea of this is that we want the voices of the fans, what we're talking about on the terraces, what we're talking about in our WhatsApp groups, to actually make it to the media, as opposed to what the pundits are saying, what the agents are influencing. This is about fan voices, fan empowerment. It's run by fans as the starting 11. We will be responsible for running the Forest page, for choosing the discussions, for rating the players and getting that information to various outlets. It's a great idea. The more I heard about it, the more I wanted to be involved, and the happier I was when I got told that I'm going to be. So look out for Fanalysis on Sky and other things. Look out for some Fanalysts from all the Premier League teams popping up here in the media. And if you get the opportunity to sign up for the app, download it, sign up, let's get talking, let's get those voices out there. So yeah, really excited to be a part of it.
Amazing news, Kate. Well done on that. And of course, same for Ellie as well, Mollo. Fantastic news for her to be involved also. Has the app been released yet, Kate?
So you can download the app at the moment. You can go to the website and apply to be a part of the app. It is a screening process. They're very, very, they want to make sure that it is only genuine fans of the club that they're applying for that make it onto this app. They're trying to make sure there's no trolling. They're trying to make sure that it is really the fans' voices that are getting out there. So you will have to apply, you will be screened, and then they will let you know whether or not you've successfully proved that you support Forest, which sounds a bit long-winded, but is actually great, because it's so easy to find a nasty little niggly voice coming in. You know, we've got this big game against Palace coming up, and if you go on social media at the moment, there's a lot of that kind of banter happening. It's not going to be happening in the Fanalysis app. It's going to be Forest fans talking about Forest. You can go and look at what the other teams are saying, but you can't comment on it. So go to the website, tells you all about it. You can apply to be a part of the app, download the app. You'll be hearing more and more about it, and get involved.
Yeah, Mollo.
I was going to say, the pundits have already started using it. If you watched the post-match last night,
Monday Night Football,
they were doing their predictions. They also looked at where fans, that was absolutely intriguing, where fans think their team's going to finish on average using the Fanalysis.
Mm-hmm.
Ours was 9th across the board.
It was.
And they also used it for player to watch, didn't they? And that was actually on the segment afterwards. So well done, you guys. I'm really looking forward to that, getting it.
And ask Elliot Anderson. So yeah.
So I've applied to be like a normal guy that puts in this stuff and comments and all that kind of stuff. So it'd be really good fun.
Yeah.
So other Forest fans who are part of that starting 11, Kate, we've obviously mentioned yourself and Ellie. What other fans have been selected that we might have heard of?
I feel like it's their announcement, but some of you might have already seen Michael Temple. He's been on Sky with the little thing that the Forest Focus and then Fanalysis starting 11 on his bio. So that's that's somebody that probably a lot of people that are listening to this will have heard of. And I would say wait and see. It's a nice mix of people who you will have heard of and people who you won't, which again I think is a really nice balance.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Very much look forward to that.
There's some great people, like you say, the Forest Focus guys are really, really good. So can't knock it.
That sounds amazing. Have they got?
Sorry, Chels, go on.
Yeah, I just wondered whether is the starting 11? Is that all the space has been filled yet, Kate?
I'm not 100% sure that they have.
Yep.
I know of 8 definite and a few more that are in the pipeline. I think by the time it goes live for people to really start interacting with it, which will be in about a month, I think, that it's really fully up and running. At the moment, the starting 11s are getting used to the software, getting used to getting those stats in, how that looks like, what that looks like. And again, the media outlets are receiving it, working out what they're doing with it. So we are in that tester phase at the moment. So certainly by the time everybody else is allowed in, there will be 11 for Forest. I believe we're nearly there.
Yeah, I just mentioned, is there a subs bench?
A subs- No.
So it's not
well
like
done,
somebody can
Kate.
be, somebody
Back
can't
to
be brought
playing
on in
days.
the 72nd minute then, like Nuno, and replace a host.
There may well be some transfers in and out as the season and the seasons roll on, but the most important thing is the people that are there for the good reasons. They're genuine fans of their club, and their voices are getting heard. So yeah,
excellent stuff. We shall certainly support that for Analysis. Won't we, guys, in terms of this podcast? So very much looking forward to taking part in seeing that, which leads us nicely to the tricky trivia answer, Kate. Now, Chels was the first to put a hand up in terms of who she thinks it will be. So, Chels, what was your answer?
I believe that it was at home at the City Ground. We won 1-0 against West Ham.
No,
and it was a away
No.
goal score. No,
No.
is it not?
I go next.
No.
I go next.
Oh no!
next. All right.
Who was the player, Chels? Who scored?
Oh no, because that was a Woney, I thought. Oh, I knew I'd get it wrong.
No.
No.
Can I go?
So Chels went very much for the modern era of Premier League football, but Mollo, you and I know truly when the Premier League really started, don't we? So I suspect I've probably got the same answer as you. So go on.
Teddy
Who was it?
Sheringham versus Liverpool, 1-0.
Yeah.
Absolute daylight robbery. Should have been 2-0 because David James cleaned out Roy Keane, the most blatant penalty you've ever seen, and the ref waved play on.
Yeah.
I
Then it all
misheard the
went downhill from there.
question.
I think, you were right for our most recent one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I misheard the question. I'm so
I
sorry.
thought you did as soon as you said West Ham. See, what do they teach you at school? Always read the question.
So the thing I remember,
Correct. Yes, it was Teddy Sheringham. We beat Liverpool 1-0.
yeah,
Yeah.
the thing I remember from that game is the Bridgeford stand was being built, wasn't it, at the time? So it was pretty much empty. And then he was sold to Spurs soon after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was okay because we replaced him with Gary Bannister, aged about 78, so he was all fine.
And then added Robert Rosario as well.
Hey, don't knock Big Bob.
Guys, that's so typical of me to answer like that. It's just typical me. Damn
Right,
it.
we'll stay with you for the moment, Kate. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it all. Again, fantastic start. Let's enjoy watching this amazing team that we all support. And we're coming for you, Crystal Palace.
Right, Kate. Chels. Anything from you?
I would just like to say that I believe it was last week that Garibaldi Girls announced that we've got a charity partnership with the Nottingham Women's Centre. It's a great organisation, and we're actually trying to fundraise for them to have a part-time counsellor who would work about 18 hours a week, and we want to be able to fund that. So if anyone would like to do their own fundraising, or if they would like to donate anything, every little helps. If you go on to, we've actually got I believe it's a Just Given page. So if you go onto our Instagram, the link is on there. If you want to donate or set your own fundraising up, we would love, love, love your support.
Excellent. And you also put a piece on Instagram, didn't you, Chels, around sponsor? Would you like to share a little bit more?
Yeah, so Tricky Talks podcast, we are looking for a sponsor. So if you or anyone you know who you think would like to sponsor us, then please give us an email. I believe, what's our email, Simon?
trickytalkspod@gmail.com, I believe.
gmail.com. Please sponsor us.
Now, we've got one or two things in the pipeline, haven't we, Kate? So we'll see if they materialise.
Yes.
Mollo, last thing from you before we go.
Just a shout out. I've really enjoyed doing this since you asked me to get involved. But my first experience this type of thing. Shout out to Ben Dorr and Dorr on Tour, and we all went on there the other day and had good fun.
Yes.
He's a cracking guy, and all the Dorr crew. I bumped into them after the game. All good folk, good lads, good ladies. So big up to Dorr on Tour as well.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, I met Dorr for the first time after the game on Sunday, and Des and his wife as well. I met, albeit briefly. So it's nice to see those guys as well. And I know Dorr wants us back on the pod. On a monthly basis, I believe. So it was a lot of fun. So if you haven't already checked that out, you can go and watch it on replay, I believe.
Yeah, he does matchday vlogs for every game. So if you just Google Dorr on Tour, go onto YouTube, Dorr on Tour, you'll find his face.
Excellent. On that note, we shall leave it.
Sorry.
Sorry, go on, Kate. Go on,
No,
Chels.
I just said, what an amazing community we are. You know, that's lovely.
Forest
Lovely to
family.
be a part. Yeah.
Forest family indeed. Right, on that note, we shall leave it there. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. As always, we'd be very grateful if you could leave us a rating and a review on your podcast catcher of choice. We shall be back next week with a review of the Crystal Palace game, and we'll look forward to our next home game against West Ham. In the meantime, we will all bid you a farewell, and we'll speak to you soon.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.